Hello everyone, this is part 3 of What If Naruto Had a Proper Teacher, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video and to like, to subscribe, to see more, comment down below with bated breath. He was angry with his sensei for putting her through this. Sakura was being torn apart by the weight of her decision. Sakura took a deep breath. Before she could change her mind, she pulled out a kunai and threw it at the helpless shinobi. The kunai sank into the soft flesh of Gozu's neck. Death took the shinobi and Sakura felt a chill cover her body. Kakashi walked over to Sakura and gently cupped her face. Good work, shinobi. The word shinobi was said quietly yet forcefully. It imparted meaning that was not there before. Meaning that was not there prior to the taking of a life. Sakura stood proudly for a moment, her chin lifted up. A sudden sickening sensation filled her. I'm proud. I'm proud I murdered someone in cold blood. Sakura turned away and ran 4 steps before heaving the contents of her stomach out. Naruto went to comfort her, but Kakashi stopped him with a simple shake of his head. Sakura puked her guts out and then collapsed to her knees. Soft sobs filled the clearing. Kakashi summoned Pakken and gave him instructions to take a message back to Konoha. All 3 of his genin made no comment on the summon. The Ninken was a bit miffed but saw the corpse and instantly knew that it had been someone's first kill. Pakken just agreed to take the message and rushed off to the village hidden in the leaves. The pink-haired girl's cries finally stopped. She sniffed a few times and looked at her teammates. I'm ready. They continued their journey to Nami no Kuni. Sasuke remarked to Naruto, are you sure you identified them correctly? They were weak and were chunin. Yup, I'm sure they were on page 11. Maybe they got rusty. Kakashi interrupted their conversation, ranks don't mean everything. They may have become chunin based on their stealth abilities. At first I did not sense them, that means they had jonin level stealth skills. If it wasn't for their lack of knowledge of the weather here, they would have been able to strike before I was ready. Kakashi gave a small shrug. I probably would have survived, but I could see it working on other jonin. And it would have been a piece of cake against a chunin or lower. The jonin sensei continued his lecture on rankings. Luck also places a factor in chunin exams. Each village structures their exam in a different way. It wouldn't surprise me if the village hidden in the mist focuses on stealth as a key to passing their chunin exams. Kakashi also warned them that rank could be deceptive. There was a genin within Konoha that was probably more powerful than any chunin servicing in the Leaf's shinobi force. Naruto asked, why hasn't he been promoted? He has refused every promotion. Why? He has his reasons, but they aren't mine to share. They camped at night. Kakashi personally set a number of traps as well as cast a genjutsu over them to hide their presence. That done, they also set up watchers. On the first watch, Sakura talked with Kakashi. Kakashi-sensei, does it get easier? Kakashi looked at her, his gaze steady with a hint of compassion in his single visible eye. Yes. Killing is something that gets easier over time. You will always remember your first kill, but if you have a long and successful career as a shinobi, it will become second nature. Sakura was chilled at the thought of being used to killing people. You kill for a reason, to finish the mission. Ultimately, the mission is the security of Konoha. For your parents, your future children, your teammates, fellow shinobi and those who cannot protect themselves. By killing your enemies you keep your village safe, you save lives. Sakura looked like she wanted to say something, but Kakashi continued. Sakura, make no mistake, the demon brothers were destined to die the minute they attacked us. The one we left behind for Anbu to pick up will be interrogated and then executed. If you hadn't killed him, someone else would have. If you choose to quit the team and stop being a shinobi, someone else will fill that role and blood will still be spilled. The copy Nin's gaze took on a harsher appearance. A refusal to kill, to not be a shinobi, does not lessen killing in the world. It only passes the burden on to someone else. Your squeamishness was a risk for Team 7 and you will emerge from this stronger. You are strong enough to bear the burden so someone else doesn't need to. Take pride in that, you bear the sacrifice of the bloody hand so someone else doesn't need to. Sakura thought about her sensei's words. His remarks were perfectly logical and they made sense. But some part of her soul fled from the cold logic that justified the dealing of death. The no longer innocent girl bowed her head. There has to be a better way, sensei. Kakashi sighed, I wish there was Sakura, but we live in a flawed world. Kakashi then grinned despite of the somber mood. But maybe when your teammate is Hokage, he can bring the naive dream that is peace to reality. After all, he is the #1 unpredictable ninja. Maybe he'll just surprise us all. Kakashi's grin slowly vanished, not that anyone could really see it behind his mask, and his tone hardened. Until that day comes, I expect you to be a shinobi and kill as you are ordered to. Hi Kakashi-sensei, Sakura responded. I'll be there for my team. I'll kill when I'm instructed. But there is a better way and this team is going to find it. Sakura promised herself, and when her watch came to an end she closed her eyes and went into a dreamless sleep. The night passed uneventfully. In the morning they continued their journey to Nami no Kuni. Before that occurred, Kakashi had all of his genin remove their weights. Naruto complained at first, but Kakashi harshly told him it was not up for discussion. A jonin threat will be faster than you, a fraction of a second can save your lives, take 'em off. The three genin removed their weights and Kakashi sealed them in a scroll so it wouldn't weigh him down either. Their trip was not just on foot, they also had to travel via boat. All of them had mastered the water walking exercise, but Tazuna was with them, so they had to travel through conventional means. Team 7 arrived at the banks. The journey through the water had finished without incident. Naruto suppressed his urge to be jumpy, remembering Kakashi's earlier admonishment. Kakashi kept a wary out for any possible attack. No jonin should be underestimated. His wariness was awarded as he felt a disturbance coming from the left side. A giant blade spun horizontally, heading straight for Team 7. Kakashi yelled out, "Contact," and then dashed forward. He carefully analyzed the spin of the blade and caught the handle. Driving the momentum downward, he buried the blade into the ground. Naruto instantly performed the Kage Bunshin and Sasuke opened his Sharingan. Zabuza Momoki grunted. He had not expected Kakashi to catch Kubikiri Boko. Zabuza knew going into this fight it was going to be difficult. Kakashi was one of the Leaf's most powerful shinobi. But to have caught his own damn weapons like that. Kubikiri Boko was not a light blade by any means, it has shocked him. Zabuza knew he had to be extremely careful when dealing with this opponent. The missing nin was surprised to see the Jonin's team spring into action. The blonde-haired shrimp had made 30 clones, and Momoki could tell that they were actual shadow clones as opposed to the regular variety. The shinobi was wearing bright kill me orange, surely he was a joke and not a threat. Once again Zabuza was surprised when the boy spoke in a calm and clear voice. Zabuza, Jonin level threat, missing nin from Kirigakure. Naruto's thoughts raced as he continued, favors close combat, one of the 7 swordsmen of the mist, skilled in the art of the silent kill. Water affinity. The boy's tone was quick and clipped, but there was no hint of nerves. Zabuza began to let his chakra flow into the air, creating a dense fog. Kakashi was on him in an instant before the mist could even come together. A kunai was aimed at his heart. Zabuza was shocked at the speed. He quickly blocked the arm that was wielding the kunai. Kakashi's Sharingan eye saw the movement and was already lashing out with a taijutsu attack. Arms blurring with speed, he overcame Zabuza's defenses easy and smashed his kunai through his chest. Zabuza dispersed into a pile of water. The real Zabuza retrieved his blade. A tide of orange clones rushed at him. Mixed in were images of Kakashi, the pink-haired one and the dark-haired boy. One swing of the blade demolished several of the clones. Much to Zabuza's annoyance, however, is that they hadn't come all at once, meaning he had another wave right after the first. The clones were a distraction, not a serious threat, but he could not afford to be distracted against an opponent of Kakashi's caliber. TCH, he is these brats' instructor, he'll want to save them and I can then get an opening. As he thought this, he had to deal with Kakashi rushing him again. The Jonin was fast, faster than he was. Zabuza swung at Kakashi and the Leaf Shinobi rolled underneath the attack. Momoki pressed forward, kicking out as Kakashi completed the roll ready to strike. Kakashi instantly dodged to the right of his opponent, effectively sidestepping away and lashing out with kunai. First blood went to Kakashi as the shallow cut scraped Zabuza. Zabuza ignored the cut and pumped chakra into his feet and rushed the 3 genin and the bridge builder. He smashed through the Naruto clones like they weren't even there. Sasuke saw the Jonin move with speed he couldn't hope to match. His eyes did see where the attack was coming from and met it with the signature move learned from childhood. Kaiten, Gokakyu no Jutsu, fire release, great fireball technique. In the same instant this was occurring, Naruto summoned a fresh batch of shadow clones. Sakura saw her crush blur through the hand signs and added the same attack, but this one aimed above Sasuke's. This would limit Zabuza's possible options. He could not leap over Sasuke's attack. The missing nin snarled at the unexpected elemental attack. Genin typically did not learn chakra manipulation so early. He leapt left avoiding the burning attack, however his forward momentum was stopped and Kakashi rushed him again. Zabuza swept Kubikiri Boko in a great arc trying to force the Jonin back. Kakashi stopped in his tracks and threw the kunai at his opponent's leg at point-blank range. Zabuza twisted his body to the side awkwardly trying to avoid the blow, even so it still grazed him. A Naruto clone hit him with a flying kick while he was off balance. Zabuza was pushed forward the blow and had to hastily block Kakashi's taijutsu assault. The man forced himself in close, preventing Zabuza from effectively using the blade. Kakashi read every move Zabuza made was dominating him in the fight. Have to get to the water, he desperately thought. Zabuza had taken a blow to the ribs that made breathing slightly difficult, but he had finally put some separation between him and masked shinobi. He hastily performed the substation jutsu without hand seals. The rabbit was ignored by Kakashi, whose Sharingan I instantly knew Zabuza was no longer there. Zabuza rushed forward into the water and started to make a pair of water clones when Kakashi erupted underneath the surface of the water. As soon as his hand broke contact with the surface of the water, Kakashi gathered chakra to form the Chidori. Zabuza was baffled at how the shinobi was waiting for him and how he avoided being sensed. His bafflement didn't last long as the deadly lightning chakra slammed into him. Zabuza had already started turning when he heard the sound of disrupted water, but he was unable to match the speed against the leaf shinobi. The Chidori slammed into his side, smashing up through his rib cage and turning his heart to pulp. Kakashi had swapped with his clone after his initial clash with Zabuza. The water affinity would mean that the demon in the mist would want to retreat to the water if he felt threatened. While it had been risky to depend on just alone to pose a challenge, it has been a calculated one. Zabuza was a dangerous shinobi, but even without the Sharingan, Kakashi was confident he could win the fight. With the Sharingan, even his clone could hold his own and pose a threat. And, if a Naruto clone can start emitting chakra tails, then I see no reason why a clone can't also use the Sharingan. Team 7 was startled when another voice cried out. A shinobi in the clothing and mask of a hunter nin burst from hiding shouting, "Zabuza!" A Naruto clone shouted out, "Unknown shinobi, garbed as Kirigakure hunter nin." Naruto had used a clone to do it. Kakashi had given him that tip. If the clones were already out, have one of them say it instead of the original, since opponents would assume the original was speaking. Kakashi was surprised he had not sensed the additional shinobi in the area. Whoever it was had to be skilled in stealth and was therefore dangerous. The masked shinobi raced toward Zabuza. Kakashi created a water clone to intercept the shinobi. While the shinobi was dressed like a hunter nin, the reaction to Zabuza's death was out of character. Naruto's clones followed his lead and swarmed the newcomer. Haku responded with senbon needles thrown with deadly force. His world had just been shattered, he had failed Zabuza and had nothing left to live for. Death in battle would end his worthless existence. He didn't even try to use his Kekkei Genkai. Haku wanted to die and Kakashi was taking no chances. The outcome was inevitable. In the first clash, Kakashi rammed his kunai through Zabuza's apprentice's skull. Haku had felt nothing more than a sharp pain before the kunai ended his short life. Kakashi peered out with his Sharingan, looking to see if any more surprises were waiting to jump out. Seeing none, all of Team 7 searched the bodies and discussed what happened. Naruto asked his sensei, "I don't get it, who was she?" The older shinobi corrected his pupil, "Actually it's a he." Naruto did a double take. "What? Remember to see underneath the surface, Naruto. Until you can reliably see underneath, you cannot even begin to see underneath the underneath as a proper shinobi should." Kakashi continued, "As for why, that is difficult to say. I would guess that Zabuza was important to this shinobi, based on age, possible an apprentice or sibling, though no siblings are listed in the bingo books. Based on the disguise, I assume that if Zabuza got into trouble, this one would come and try to save him. Because my attack killed Zabuza too quickly, that didn't happen." Sasuke turned off his Sharingan. This was his first taste of a true shinobi battle. The killer intent had been massive, but having suffered through Kakashi's training as well as the fake assassination attempt by the Iwarenin, he had held up well. With his Sharingan he had been able to follow the swordsman every step of the way. He knew his body would not have been able to keep up, so that was a humbling experience. However, he knew with the training he was receiving he would one day move at that level. Sakura was happy she had fulfilled her promise. It was partly due to her attack that Zabuza had to move the way he did. As she analyzed the battle, she realized that even without her attack, the outcome would still have been the same. It did allow the battle to end more quickly. As her sensei had repeated over and over, a shinobi was dangerous until he was dead. Naruto had mixed feelings. He had fulfilled his role in the team by calling out the information on their opponents. His clones had been instrumental in distracting Zabuza. He had performed exactly the way his sensei had wanted him to. But he had not been satisfied. Naruto still had energy to burn. All he had done was make clones. Naruto had wanted to actually fight, to swing a punch or hit the enemy with a kick. It seemed vaguely cowardly to fight the way he had. Kakashi was a master at reading people, even without his Sharingan active. Naruto, you and the rest of the team were excellent. What is the matter? Naruto squinted. I guess this isn't the way I imagined fighting the enemy. Good. Being a shinobi isn't about honor or bravery, it is about victory. You serve the village and not yourself or your idealized version of what it means to be ninja. Kakashi gave him a nice smile, and you won't become Hokage if you die while still a genin. Naruto perked up at the words, hi sensei. See Sakura. Kakashi thinks I can be Hokage. Sakura rolled her eyes, you've gotten better but you still have a long way to go. Naruto acknowledged her words, you're right but I'll make it there one day. Believe it. Kakashi walked over to the body of Zabuza and cut off his head. And as an added bonus we'll be able to collect the bounty for a rank A missing in Nin. Naruto blinked, he knew all the bounties in the bingo books. He was going to be rich. Sakura asked, you did most of the work sensei, how are we going to split it? Kakashi looked at his team, we split it evenly. We are a team. Though, I do expect you to use at least some of the bounty on items useful to your career as a shinobi. 2 Naruto clones carried Kubikiriboko and walked with the rest of the team and Tazuna. The team was much more cheerful after hearing about the bounty. Tazuna also felt less guilty about the whole affair since at least the team would be compensated appropriately. He hoped there would be no more attacks before the bridge was complete. Tazuna led Team 7 to his home. Kakashi's team met with Tazuna's family and learned of the sad fate of Kaiser, the hero that was executed by Gato's thugs. Naruto was enraged by the unfairness of the action. Sakura was also saddened by the story. When Inari stated that it was hopeless, that no one could defeat Gato, it was Sasuke who shook his head. You are wrong. Gato is weak, he isn't even a shinobi. We defeated his hired shinobi on 2 occasions. If he messes with us he's dead. Inari stormed off in tears, not believing a word of it. Naruto looked to his sensei, what is going to happen after we leave? Kakashi preferred brutal honesty than sugared words. Gato will either destroy the bridge or position thugs at one end of it to collect a toll. Tazuna stood up, Gato will try but once the bridge is built they will see that we can stand up to Gato. They will fight him and his hired thugs. Doubtful, Kakashi mildly responded. Tazuna quivered with rage, he had poured his heart and soul to building the Great Bridge. Many had thought he was a fool for doing so, but he would succeed and no outsider shinobi was going to say otherwise. Sakura stepped in, Sensei, we have to help these people. Kakashi looked at her, our job is to protect the bridge builder, not assassinate business tycoons. Tazuna stared at the jonin, his anger would do him no good. He collapsed into his chair and held his head in his hands. Please, get rid of Gato for us. Kakashi ignored the impassioned plea, that wasn't the mission you hired our village for. I'll add it to the mission. The Sharingan wielder shrugged, that would need to be approved by the Hokage's office, and considering the financial state of the village I doubt you would be able to gather the necessary funds. Naruto was furious, so what? Gato needs to be taken out. The older shinobi looked at Naruto, does he now? Gato is no threat to Konoha, there is no reason to take him out. Sakura was moved by the village's plight and saw a way she could convince her sensei. Kakashi-sensei, Gato is a threat to the mission. He will probably hire more shinobi, we don't know if any other missing nin are nearby. If we take him out now it will cause our mission to be more likely to succeed. Naruto looked at his crush with his eyes shining. Sakura is so smart, he thought to himself. Sasuke was mildly impressed and his respect for the pink-haired kunoichi went up a notch. Kakashi gave his cute genin a nice smile, I didn't think you had learned your lesson so well, Sakura. Sakura felt a chill pass through her. Just the other day she was vowing to find another way then killing, and here she was urging the assassination of someone. She shook her head. There should be a better way. But you were right, we do live in a flawed world. And taking out Gato will make it better place. I want to do it, the team wants to do it, and it will increase the chances of our mission being success. Kakashi looked at his team. Are all of you in agreement? They all indicated their agreement. He turned to the bridge builder. We'll kill Gato for you, Tazuna, but in exchange when your land is back on its feet you'll give Konoha favored trade status. Tazuna nearly had tears in his eyes and he expressed his gratitude to the shinobi present. Tazuna didn't have any official position, but as the person who would build the bridge that connected the land and brought back prosperity, he would be able to get it accomplished. While the Land of Waves was poor currently, it could become an important if still minor trading partner with Konoha. Now is the time to act. Right now Gato will have no one but thugs and maybe some disgraced samurai. With that being the only threat, I will let the three of you plan and carry out the operation. While surprised, the three genin were confident they could handle it. I will tag along in case this Gato fellow has another rank shinobi with him. Your mission parameters are to ensure Gato dies tonight. The method is up to you. What you do with Gato's men is up to you. I will be observing, however I will cease helping beginning now. Team 7 looked at each other and Naruto spoke up first. Sakura-chan, maybe you should come up with the plan. You're really smart and I bet you could make the best plan. Sakura enjoyed being complimented even if it was from Naruto. Even before she joined the team it was nice to know that someone found her pretty and wanted to date her. Now that she had seen his work ethic and abilities she valued his opinion even more. If only Sasuke-kun thought of me that way. Sakura looked to Sasuke, who simply inclined his head. Sakura began by finding out what they wanted to do. Should we try to avoid killing his mercenaries? Sasuke didn't care one way or the other and remained silent. Naruto looked up at Kakashi before looking back at Sakura. I don't think we need to kill them. Maybe just scare them a bit. Sakura liked the answer. She didn't want to kill anyone, she didn't have to. I guess the next question is who should be the one to do it. Sasuke volunteered. I'll do it. For once Naruto decided not to compete with his rival. Sakura was relieved she wouldn't be the one to do it. Even if Gato deserved death, even if it had to be done, she didn't want to be the one to do it. She knew Kakashi would find her weak for thinking this, but he had left them in charge and this is what the team had decided. Sakura formulated a plan. Gato may not know Zabuza is dead. Sasuke can henge as Zabuza and I can henge as his apprentice and we can go in as if we were going to report what happened. Naruto can make clones of people in the area and be ready to jump in if something is dangerous. Naruto wanted to be closer to the action but he didn't want to undercut Sakura's plan. It will do. We should go now, the longer we wait to report the more suspicious it will be. Sasuke's suggestion was practical and they were in agreement. With the plan formed, Sakura looked to the older Leaf Nin for confirmation. Kakashi just shrugged his shoulders. He had said he wouldn't provide guidance and wouldn't interfere unless another high-ranked shinobi appeared. Sakura swallowed thickly and put on her disguise while Sasuke did the same. Naruto watched his two teammates head over to Gato's base of operations. He had 20 clones positioned around the area looking like civilians. He saw his teammates exchange words with some of the mercenaries guarding the front door. Whatever they said was enough to let him in. Naruto desperately wanted to know what was going on inside but kept his cool and observed. Getting in had been easy for the two genin. Meeting Gato had been even easier. Gato had several mercenaries in the room, include two guards who looked like they knew how to handle a blade. What am I paying you for? That bridge builder is still alive. I thought you were supposed to be the demon in the mist, can't you do anything right? Sasuke smirked and activated his Sharingan. Without his weights he felt as light as a feather. His charge was noticed by the two guards who hastily tried to draw their blades in time to defend their master. Sasuke easily sped past them and jammed his kunai into Gato's chest. Pandemonium ensued. The two guards yelled out in rage and slashed at the Uchiha. Sasuke was disdainful at the slow telegraphed attacks. Maybe these two could bully civilians but not a trained shinobi. With his Sharingan it was even easier as he sidestepped the blows. Sasuke knife-palmed one in the throat and doubled over the other with a spinning heel kick. His elbow smashed into the back of the man's neck with brutal force, taking him down. Sakura jumped to the side and began using a genjutsu on the remaining opponents. Sakura used the jutsu Kakashi had taught her. Magen, Narukumi no Jutsu, demonic illusion, hell viewing technique. Of course, unlike other jutsu, she didn't shout out the name of the attack since it would have diminished its effectiveness. Sakura didn't know what the other mercenaries saw, but evidently her jutsu was powerful enough to send them fleeing for their lives. Naruto saw the men fleeing with fright. He and his clones bum-rushed Gato's base to find both Sakura and Sasuke just fine. You had me worried, they were terrified. Sakura smiled, it was just a simple genjutsu, and almost any shinobi could have detected it. Sasuke retrieved his kunai from Gato's still warm body and walked out. Team 7 went back to Tazuna and informed them of their success. Tazuna was amazed at how quickly it had occurred. They had left less than an hour ago. Tazuna didn't know about shinobi. He didn't know that even academy students could kill a grown man easily. Gato was cheap, and so his hired help weren't skilled samurai who could hold their own with shinobi. Instead, Gato favored cheap brutes who could intimidate his victims. He would hire missing nin and then turn on them when they were wounded or careless. If things ever went sour, he just threw money at the problem. Incredibly impressed with the results, he told them they were more than welcome to stay at his home while the bridge was completed. They thanked the bridge builder and turned to Kakashi. Kakashi scratched his chin while the genin awaited his judgment of their plan and its execution. Not bad, not great, but not bad. It was faint praise from their sensei. Sakura asked, what was wrong with it? Against Gato and cheap thugs. Nothing really. Any plan would have worked. You used a basic jutsu to hide your appearance so you could get close and eliminate him. The direct approach worked in this case and minimized his chance to flee. Then what did we do wrong? Naruto angrily remarked. You didn't anticipate any problems. You were arrogant. If he did have a shinobi hidden as a mercenary, you wouldn't have known. Your approach was pure brute force. Sakura asked, how would you have done it? Kakashi answered, there were plenty of ways to do it. There is no one right way, but there are ways to minimize risk. Kakashi explained further, for example, Naruto could have used clones to henge Zabuza and his accomplice and do the same thing you two did. If there was unexpected shinobi resistance, no one would be in danger of dying. Another option would have been to ambush Gato when he left his base. In that scenario, it would be easier for you to retreat if necessary. All three genin could see the value of what Kakashi was teaching them. While the outcome was never in doubt, it would be a good idea to minimize risk whenever possible. Kakashi had told them in an earlier lesson that success on 99 missions didn't mean you wouldn't die on the 100th. Always minimize the odds of failure and death by approaching every mission with caution. Ego and arrogance led to death. Naruto still had issues with how cowardly it felt to be thinking about minimizing his risk in every way possible. Kakashi had a sixth sense for picking out such thoughts. Naruto, we've had this discussion before. You owe it yourself, Konoha, and most importantly your team to avoid dying. I am not asking you to be a coward. If a teammate is in danger, I expect you to put your life on the line to save them. But don't take unnecessary chances. What if you took an unnecessary chance and your teammate rightly tried to save you? And then they become injured or even killed because of your arrogance. Hi Kakashi-sensei, Naruto replied. Naruto still didn't like it, but he would treat it like eating vegetables. A necessary evil, but one that would ensure he could best protect his team and one day become Hokage so he could protect the entire village. Kakashi had his team turn in for the night. He still had them set up watches. It was good practice for his team and it never hurt to be cautious. Before they did so, he returned the weights to his team. All three of them eagerly put them on. All of them had already improved their strength and stamina through the use of the weights and wanted to continue to get stronger. Break. The next morning they ate a delicious breakfast. The townsfolk greeted them eagerly. They were treated as heroes. They had ended the reign of Gato. Gato's thugs had fled the town that night. Not all of them knew what happened. Some claimed a monster had been unleashed, others claimed that shinobi had ripped people apart with the bare hands. Genjutsu meant that the stories were even more outlandish than what had actually happened. At the bridge there was no shortage of volunteers to help. Kakashi also had Naruto make dozens of clones to help move supplies and materials. With the additional help and the clones, Tazuna would be able to get the bridge finished ahead of schedule. Kakashi continued to train his team while the bridge was constructed. His training was focused almost exclusively on taijutsu and team tactics. Sasuke was the undisputed champion in the sparring within the squad. His Sharingan allowed him to read moves through the tiny changes in muscles as someone prepared an attack. With the weights on both, he and Naruto were at similar speeds. In addition to the Sharingan, Sasuke's taijutsu was simply superior to Naruto's. However, Naruto had more weight on than Sasuke. A fact that irked the Uchiha. How was the dead last able to surpass him? He had demanded Kakashi up the weights and Kakashi refused. And don't even think about doing it yourself, you'll increase the chance of sprains and fractures by moving too quickly. If you exhaust your muscles, you'll do more harm than good. Then how is he able to take all the extra weight? Kakashi gave him an eye smile. That's a great question, Sasuke. Naruto is able to heal faster than others. The reason for that is a secret. One that I am going to encourage Naruto to share. Unfortunately, it is not a technique that can be copied. Sasuke's brain worked to solve what the secret was. He asked his sensei, is it a Kekkei Genkai like the Sharingan? It was a reasonable guess. It would explain the greater healing ability and the need for keeping it a secret. Kakashi merely smiled beneath the mask and responded, I've said all that I planned to on this, Sasuke. Sasuke wasn't happy, but if it was a Kekkei Genkai then it didn't matter. It just meant he would have to work harder. He couldn't afford to let the class dobe surpass him. Sasuke was glad that Naruto wasn't weak. He would be someone he could measure himself against. And as Kakashi had pointed out early in their training, having a strong team could only work to his benefit. Naruto was better than Sakura in their spars. However, Sakura becoming incredibly adept at avoiding blows. Facing the quick and brutally efficient Sasuke had taught her how to minimize her movements. Her blocks were precise and close to her body. If the attack was too strong, she smoothly glided away. Without the weights, Naruto could have finished her quickly, but with them it was next to impossible to pin her down and win the bout. The only reason he would end up winning is when Sakura finally became too winded to move as fast as she could. Within the week the bridge was complete and Tazuna thanked Kakashi and his team. Even Inari was smiling again. His grandpa was safe and the man who had murdered his surrogate father was killed. The strong killed the weak, that was life, but his amazing granddad had found people stronger than Gato and his money. With a final wave, Team 7 began their return trip home. The 4 shinobi of Konoha returned to their village quickly and without incident. Naruto couldn't wait to get the best ramen in town. As he was about to dash off, Kakashi reminded him they had to report back at the Hokage Tower first. Ah, but ramen. Kakashi's one visible eye twitched violently. Every time he thought he was making progress. The 3 reported directly to the Hokage. Sarutobi had a pipe in his mouth as he saw Team 7 enter to make their report. The first report had led to the mission being upgraded to a rank B mission. The second report after the battle that led to the death of Zabuza turned it into an A-rank mission. Hiruzen had great confidence in Kakashi's abilities, but really this was a bit much for a young Genin team's first mission. Kakashi made his report efficiently and effectively. The Hokage's eyebrows shot up at having the Genin kill so quickly. He had wanted them to retain their innocence a little longer. He shook himself out of his thoughts as the elite Jonin continued the debrief. When Kakashi finished, the third Hokage smiled at the 4 shinobi. You've exceeded my expectations, well done. Kakashi took the praise in stride while his Genin team basked in it. Kakashi could tell even Sasuke was affected by the words, though he hid it well. Naruto's smile was an ear-to-ear grin. Sakura was more demure, but she positively glowed at the praise from the village's legendary leader. The Hokage dismissed everyone but Kakashi. Naruto invited the other 2 for ramen. Sasuke shrugged and agreed. Kakashi would expect him to be part of the team. With Sasuke going, it made Sakura's choice a foregone conclusion. All 3 of the Genin headed to Ramen Ichiraku. Hiruzen looked at Kakashi. I understand you don't want it in writing that Sasuke has unlocked the Sharingan. Hi, if no one knows Sasuke has developed the Sharingan, he will be better protected. A live Sharingan can make him a target. Furthermore, it always helps for a shinobi to be underestimated. The Hokage chewed on his pipe in thought. I'll keep it out of the written reports. I understand caution, but only a few people have access to the reports. Sometimes your wariness is more like paranoia, Kakashi-san. The masked Jonin looked at the Hokage and replied with simple logic, if I take precautions that aren't needed, it is a minor inconvenience. But if I take precautions when it is needed, it could make all the difference. Any edge, no matter how small, that will help them survive, I will give them. He couldn't find fault with the argument, so he agreed to do as his Jonin asked. The written copies of the report were different than what had been orally communicated. Most everything was the same, but the Sharingan was absent completely, as was any mention of the genin helping Kakashi deal with Zabuza. With a bow, Kakashi left Sarutobi alone with his thoughts. Kakashi took the pay for the mission and also turned in the sealing scroll that had Zabuza's head. Zabuza's blade was also given up, but instead of using it as part of the bounty, it would go to the care of Konoha, where it would find a worthy wielder. Kakashi would split the money with his team in the next morning. For now, it was time to see if the latest Ika had arrived while he was gone. Naruto was ecstatic. Not only was he finally getting his favorite food at Ramen Ichiraku, but both of his teammates would be with him. Naruto introduced them to Tuki and his daughter Ayami. Sasuke said little while Sakura introduced herself properly. Soon they were all eating delicious ramen. While neither was as enthusiastic as Naruto, it was tasty and they enjoyed it. After completing the ramen, they went their separate ways. Naruto returned to his home. Since placing a few traps, the home had not been vandalized. The fact that he was a shinobi now meant that he could legally assault someone for breaking into his residence. Naruto made a dozen clones that began reading books. Naruto considered what he would like to with the money he would soon be receiving as his share of the bounty and the A-rank mission. His used new furniture, but Naruto honestly didn't care about that. He wanted to get stronger. He wanted to purchase something that would enhance his skills. Kakashi had told him about chakra blades, that would be very expensive but extremely useful for a wind affinity like himself. Naruto also thought about getting alternative weaponry. Most shinobi favored small weaponry that allowed for easy carrying and stowing so that hand signs could be used at a moment's notice. He did like the thought of wielding a katana or a staff. From reading historical battles, he knew his Gigi used a staff in battle that he summoned. Naruto decided to go shopping at a weapons store and see what might be effective for him. He left his clones to continue their reading while he used his henge to look like a nondescript teenage shinobi. That done, he went into town, avoiding all of the glares and hate he had been subjected to for most of his life. The young genin was still kicking himself for not thinking of this plan prior to Kakashi telling him. Naruto found himself browsing a weapon shop. Like a kid in a candy store, Naruto drooled over the potential additions to his shinobi arsenal. The shopkeeper allowed him to handle the various weapons and Naruto tried a few moves with each of them. Laughter interrupted once one of his practice strikes. He turned and found a young kunoichi shaking her head. "You were holding that katana all wrong." Naruto flushed, thankful the henge hid his embarrassment. "I never trained with any weapons other than the academy standard ones," he defended himself. Naruto recognized the girl. She was a fellow genin a year ahead of his graduating class. Her name was Tenten and she had a reputation for knowing her way around weapons. Naruto's clones had learned a lot just observing the village, and this was one of the little facts that came to mind. Tenten showed Naruto the proper way to hold the blade. Naruto had an idea. "Hey Tenten, how about you some weapons and help me pick out something that will be useful for me?" Tenten looked at the shinobi she had never seen until now and asked, "Whom I have my own training to do, plus you haven't even introduced yourself. Who are you?" Naruto considered lying, but he suspected the keen-eyed kunoichi would be able to detect the henge and any falsehood. Instead he leaned in close. "I'm Naruto, part of Team 7. A lot of the shop owners don't like me, so I use a henge." Tenten was surprised that Naruto was in disguise. Naruto had been held back, so for a brief time he had actually been in Tenten's class. A subtle Naruto instead of a bright orange overly excitable Naruto sparked her curiosity. Tenten said, "All right, let's do this. I'll show you a variety of weapons for a couple of hours and you tell me what you've been up to these days." Naruto laughed. "All right. Let's head the practice field right now." Both of them left the shop and proceeded to the nearest training field. Along the way, Naruto regaled Tenten with how awesome it was to be a shinobi. About how they went on their first mission outside of the village and how it had turned into a ranker mission. Naruto did manage to hold back anything related to his and his teammates' training. While Tenten was clearly a fellow Leaf shinobi, Kakashi had warned him about sharing news about his abilities. Spies existed in the shinobi world and one never knew who was listening. Tenten didn't ask about that anyhow. Instead she was fascinated by Zabuza's weapon, Kubikiriboko. Naruto didn't know why she was so obsessed with it, but he answered all of the questions she had. He didn't really know much about the weapon. Kakashi had been the one to do nearly all of the battle in that conflict. When they arrived at the practice field, Tenten showed the Jinchuriki all types of weapons. Naruto was in awe at the arsenal she pulled out. Several of the weapons were not practical in his mind, but she wielded them with a grace that was astounding. Tenten had him test out several of the weapons and adjusted his forms and grip as needed. Are you a close-range fighter or do you prefer to stay in the back? That was an interesting question. The immediate answer was a ranged fighter due to Kakashi's lessons. But Naruto had been working on looking underneath the surface. While Kakashi would want his team to stay back and minimize their risk, he expected Naruto to use his clones in close combat. Any weapon skill he learned could be transferable to his clones. Naruto answered her, I'm in between, I don't mind getting in close though. Tenten frowned at the non-answer but then shrugged. In that case, let's set you up with what you had in the store, a katana. It's straightforward but allows for a longer reach than a kunai but still allows combat in close quarters. They spent the last 30 minutes going through weapon drills. Naruto thanked Tenten profusely and declared, with this extra training I'll have all I need to be the next Hokage. Tenten rolled her eyes but accepted the thanks with good grace. Naruto asked her if she knew any good books or scroll techniques he could pick up for using a katana. She named a book he could pick up that showed the basic stances and a generic fighting style. Anything too far advanced is typically held secret by families or clans. Don't let that stop you though. Come up with your own style and your opponent will be in trouble because they won't have ever seen it before. Naruto again thanked her and returned to the shop to purchase a pair of katanas. Having backup equipment was another rule that his sensei had drilled into him. At the shop he also requested the chakra blades. Chakra blades were made of material that absorbed chakra and were rare. The store didn't have them, but if Naruto paid for them up front he would order a pair of kunai made of the chakra absorbent material. Naruto would have to come back the next day to put in the order as Kakashi hadn't split the proceeds from the bounty yet. Naruto returned home excited about showing off his new weapon to the team tomorrow. Sakura had enjoyed the meal with the team. She loved her Sasuke-kun and Naruto wasn't nearly as annoying as he used to be. The team was starting to feel like a family and she wanted to do all she could to protect it. It was time to make a decision. Genjutsu or training in medical jutsu. Sakura made her decision based on what had happened in the battles they had been in. Death was swift, death was often instantaneous. Haku died to a kunai to the brain. Zabuza died due to his heart being obliterated by Kakashi's Chidori. No medical jutsu could fix that. Threats to the team could be fatal before she even got a chance to heal. But what if she could prevent an attack from landing in the first place? What if she could use her superior chakra control to ensure her teammates didn't even get hit? With these thoughts in mind she chose her specialty, it would be in Genjutsu. Genjutsu was a rare art in Konoha. The primary uses had been the Uchiha clan through the use of the dojutsu. That path required the Sharingan, a clear dead end. The most famous Genjutsu user currently in the village was Kurenai Yu. The problem was that she had her own Genin team, and Jonin instructors should put all of their efforts on improving their own team. That went double for the first year as a Jonin. Kakashi would absolutely train her, but she knew that was not his specialty. Kakashi was a master at ninjutsu and an absolute terror with taijutsu, but his genjutsu was limited. Sakura would need someone else to help supplement her training in this if she was to develop it to the point where it could actually fool dangerous opponents. Sakura decided to put her ear to the ground and see if she could find a Jonin who was skilled with genjutsu who could tutor her a couple of times a week. Between that and the training Kakashi would give her, she should be able to make significant progress. Her share of the bounty would be used to pay for the lessons. Sakura felt a burst of energy inside of her. She had confidence in her choice. She was not going to be a liability to her team. Team 7 met up again the next day. As was typical, they quickly and efficiently completed a D-ranked mission and then turned to training. Kakashi talked to them about what they would want to tackle next on their training agenda. Kakashi was approving of Sakura's choice to specialize in genjutsu. He told her to continue working to improve her taijutsu and conditioning with weights. On that subject, he had purchased a new set of weights for all of them. These weights at first were incredibly light until they pushed chakra into them. These seals are designed to be only accessed by yourselves, only increase the weight when I advise you to, but in a fight you can quickly release the excess weight. Additional when we travel too much weight and you'll snap tree limbs as you leap from branch to branch. All three of the genin also had their weights increased. Kakashi created a pair of clones so he could have some one-on-one time with each of his students. The original went with Sasuke. He was going to teach the last Uchiha the original move he had created. The Chidori. Sasuke had seen it in action and knew it was a fantastic kill move. It would burst through most defensive barriers, especially earth, which was often used for defense. Kakashi cautioned Sasuke on the use of it. Never use this on a comrade or a leaf shinobi. This jutsu should only be used on the enemies of Konoha. Sasuke promised to obey this command. Sasuke also learned his chakra reserve would only allow him to use it 2 times before being exhausted. With constant training you should be able to increase the number of times you can use this jutsu to 3 fairly quickly. With the aid of the Sharingan it was easy for Sasuke to pick up the jutsu, and by the end of the day he had successfully performed the jutsu and slammed it into the earth, leaving a crater. Excellent work, now on to your taijutsu training. Sasuke pushed his groaning muscles the limit with the new chakra weights. He was still able to maintain the perfection that Kakashi required in taijutsu forms. He was determined not to fall behind Naruto with weights and speed. With Sakura he taught her some more basic genjutsu applications. Most genjutsu operated on sight, but a few operated on auditory senses. The auditory ones were extraordinarily rare but very effective, since it meant the victim could be affected before even laying sight on the caster. I don't have any auditory genjutsu in my repertoire. It will be a long shot if your tutor has one either. Sight genjutsu is still amazingly powerful. Remember, on this team you don't necessarily need to isolate and control an individual for a significant length of time. As soon as the genjutsu has them, one of us should move to eliminate the threat instantly. The clone with Naruto observed him use the katana. Naruto explained his reasoning as well as Kakashi looked on. I need to get good with this so my clones can use it well. I'll still keep my hands free for using jutsu. Kakashi praised Naruto for the plan. Good thinking, Naruto. I'm glad you thought ahead of this. I'm also glad you are putting in the order for the chakra blades. With your wind affinity those chakra kunai will be devastating. Kakashi also taught Naruto a new jutsu. You are already familiar with futon, Daytopper, wind release, great breakthrough. I am going to show you a modification of this technique. Naruto jumped in the air with excitement, a new jutsu. The clone's visible eye twitched. He doubted he would ever get used to Naruto's un-shinobi-like behavior. He also doubted he could break him of the habit without breaking the boy completely down. Kakashi clapped his palms together. Futon, Repusho, wind release, gale palm, a burst of wind pushed out from around Kakashi in all directions. Naruto was shoved backward a dozen feet but landed agilely. This attack, unlike Daytopper, has a 360-degree arc. Using this will allow you to stop projectiles from all directions. You can also use it as a surprise in close quarters, but it doesn't have the destructive potential of Daytopper. Naruto eagerly made a score of clones and began practicing. As always, Kakashi was amazed at the sheer level of chakra Naruto had. Most shinobi, including himself, had to be cautious of using too much ninjutsu. Naruto had just left the academy and had chakra reserves that surpassed most jonin. While he'd started at pathetically abysmal levels, it had grown much better. The shadow clone technique had got Naruto's chakra control to appropriate levels in a fraction of the time it would otherwise have taken. Overall, Kakashi was very pleased with the progress of Team 7. He didn't want to interrupt their training too much by tackling missions away from the village. However, he did want them to have more exposure to real shinobi missions. For the next 2 days he would train them hard, and he would scan the mission list for anything that was relatively close by that was a C or B rank. Normally no genin would be going on B rankings, but he knew he could convince the old man that his team could handle it. In all honesty, any B rank would be a piece of cake for Kakashi to solo. His mission success rate on missions was quite nearly flawless. Regardless of rank, the important part of the mission was that it be close to Konoha. It was difficult to train at the level he demanded his team to train at on the road. As was typical, Kakashi completed his own training after Team 7 split. Kakashi practiced what he preached. He would place his own chakra weights and continue to hone his own body. He also liked to experiment with jutsu combinations and find new uses for them. After 3 hours of training, he cooled down and drifted onto rest. Kakashi felt good about his team's progress and eagerly looked forward to see how his 3 genin would develop. That will be it for this video. If you want more, comment down below, like, subscribe. And see you guys later.